Welcome to We Do, the officially unofficial podcast for Watchmen on HBO. I'm Jim.
I'm Aaron.
And we just got done watching Season 1, Episode 5, Little Fear of Lightning. Aaron, what'd you think?
Interesting episode. They're Lindelof serving up red meat to the ex-Jehovah's Witness community tonight.
Yeah.
I mean...
As if they couldn't, hit it on the head enough for us in
Yeah.
Leftovers.
Yeah.
Here they come with, Jehovah's Witness stuff.
Yeah, I was like, is this Christian or a cult? And then I saw the Watchtower. I'm like, definitely a cult.
I was like, all white shirts, Mennonites.
Do you want to have a brief criticism of the depiction of witnesses here?
My first thought was they don't really hand out the Watchtower in field service. They're more about handing out the Awake.
They did, at 85, they were still
Were
serving
they?
up the Watchtower for sure.
Okay, I was 3 years old in 85. I hadn't been door to door yet.
Yeah.
But
I think we're handing out the Watchtower back in your day. Just you were kind of a shitty witness, Jim.
Well, yeah, I fucking...
Which is a bit of a compliment nowadays. Actually, I thought because they nailed the hey, sometimes they hit up areas in mass, so they go in there and project some force. They don't dress the same.
No.
No,
That's why I thought it was Mennonites at first. I'm like,
yeah,
they're missing their backpacks, but they've got the
Mormons.
white.
Mormons kind of have more of a definite look to them.
Yep.
But I think if they had just had
I had a purple suit when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I had a fucking Joker suit, man.
I went door to door in a silk fucking shirt from time to time. This is fucking styling. Shirts. Yeah. But they nailed the whole go to the, or I don't know how it seems like witnesses nowadays just stand on corners with magazines, but going to where the sinners are, that seems pretty witness like.
Yeah.
Looking Glass used to be a Jehovah's Witnesses. That's interesting. Mm-hmm. And then he got the Psychic Squid blasted.
Yep.
Right after he got Goth Girlfriend blasted, and he's had a life. He's had a lifetime of fear and uncertainty around that experience. He just found out that it's all bullshit. Yeah. Man, he's had the stars fall out of his eyes twice. Apparently.
I mean, so have I. This episode, there was so much in it that changes the game.
Yeah.
This message from Ozzy getting caught, all these things are big game changers.
Yeah, and I was thinking there's a couple points this episode where I thought it was going to lose me, and I'm like, okay, this fucking lettuce truck, and the lettuce falling off the truck, and I'm gonna kind of roll my eyes, and I'm just like, and Wade going in here without backup, I still think some of this stuff is stupid. But then when it turns out that the 7th Cavalry took the time to rig the lettuce to fall off the truck, I mean, I got to tip my hat to the Lindelof. That's pretty ballsy.
Yeah.
And I admire it. I also love, turns out everybody was wrong. It wasn't Mars, nor it was the moon. It was a moon of Jupiter.
Yes. That
Ozymandias is being imprisoned. Although... Man, they really kind of hint that it's Dr. Manhattan at some point behind all this stuff, because he's talking about how your God has abandoned you. And I don't think Lady True in 2019 has got the technology to start a base on Ganymede or Europa or whatever the fuck it is, right?
Yeah.
That's
Io, right?
Yeah, maybe it's a Mars base or maybe it's a moon base, but this is starting to sound more like Dr. Manhattan. Mm-hmm. Maybe he created a pocket universe of life for a singular purpose and then got bored and it's kind of gone amok a little bit.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of who else would have the ability to imprison him. I mean, it's definitely the only other candidate's Lady True, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of developments on that front. It turns out everybody's theories were basically right, even though he's on a different planet, different moon. It was all a prison. We don't know if it's Dr. Manhattan yet, but like you said, it's most likely.
What do you think the full message said? It said, "Save me, D," and then we didn't see what the D word was.
I mean, it could be Doctor.
Daddy.
Save me, Daddy, yeah. Was it a D? I thought it might have been an O. If he says, "Save me, Ozzy," that might get people thinking, I wonder who's there. Maybe Ozymandias. I'm thinking it's got to be something that's kind of short to spell, right? You're not going to write out Dr. Manhattan. Yes, he has a lot of bodies, but how much time does he have?
Dr. M.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm curious if that, because the thing is that they don't show it, which makes me think that that's probably significant. Mm-hmm. What that word is probably going to be a little bit of a, maybe not a game changer, but a game, lateraler.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I mean, geez, what? So that was a game changer. What else?
There's so many little details.
What Angela the pills?
Yeah, nostalgia.
Nostalgia. So like, I looked it up because I didn't remember nostalgia, the fragrance that Vite was making and pushing on the public back in the 80s. I don't remember that having any kind of like memory thing component to it. And I looked up on the wiki when we were kind of cleaning up here, and it didn't. So, like, I wonder if nostalgia is, like, some kind of, like, street slang for a drug that encodes memories. Okay. But, like, what's asserted is that nostalgia is some kind of chemical that can store memories, and that if you abuse it, it can cause psychosis. Mm-hmm. And Angela took a whole fucking bottle full of them.
Yeah, which makes me think that next episode could be a literal bottle episode. As she experiences all of those.
It might be a literal
memories.
bottle episode, but it would be a non-figurative bottle episode because I'm sure that would have us going to all different types of locations and all different types of characters. I mean,
it could take her back to the fucking Tulsa Black Wall Street event, right?
That was my first thought, but what is the utility of that? Like, we saw a really good dose, and I haven't forgotten a bit of it. Like, if we go through a whole 60-minute episode of Tulsa, like, is that...
Oh, yeah, I don't know that we'll go that far.
But even 10 minutes more of it, like, what would be, I guess Angela being... maybe it's just seeing it through her eyes.
Yeah, I mean, it would definitely be how it affects her character.
Yeah.
As opposed to showing us, because we already know, like you said. So
it's interesting that Looking Glass's name is like, I feel like that he had a Through the Looking Glass experience, and also when you think about the visual imagery of that dimensional portal, I wonder what the 7K is doing with that, by the way. And the fact that, like, I feel like that he went through the Looking Glass in this episode, and Angela's going to next episode. And he's the kind of fulcrum that all that stuff is. I think that's kind of interesting too.
It does make me think there's probably a version of those. Like, if you can portal anything to anywhere, there's a version of that the government has that they're throwing Squid through, right?
It has to be.
To do these Squid fall things.
Yeah.
Like, you got the message from Ozzy telling Reagan that, look, this is all fake.
Or Robert Redford,
there will be, minor extra-dimensional flare-ups or whatever.
He's been keeping it going for the last 7 years, but it's time for the U.S. government to step up and start raining squids down on people.
Right.
Yeah, you could see like a high-altitude bomber with like one of those portals installed in its bomb bay door.
Well, it didn't even seem like you needed a portal where it ends up, right? It goes through the portal, and then it just kind of appears wherever.
Yeah, like maybe you can configure it somehow with the construct, because that seems like what they were testing to see, like the people would track the ball and say it was 22 degrees this times whatever meters. Like
So you can probably put it anywhere.
Yeah.
Put the squid anywhere. Yeah, what is the 7K going to do with that? I don't know. Is it another, like, Aussie level, squid level event?
Yeah.
To try and... like, we've speculated on the full podcast, I think, that there's some kind of...
What would be the opposite version of that? Like a racist squid? A squid wearing a white
squid
hood.
in blackface, yeah.
Yeah, like
in a white hood. They take the white hood off and it's got blackface on it.
A grand squid cyclops to just like get everybody's the racist squid tension. I don't know, because it seems like that's the and also I thought it was interesting how Keen is claiming that he and Judd are taking control of these kind of equal and opposite forces to kind of delay some kind of reckoning, but he's manipulating these 7th Cavalry to do something, and it's very much, it seems like it's exactly what Ozymandias is trying to do.
And it kind of sets up two camps here, right? Senator Keen and the 7K and Judd. And also when you look at Will, who I think is implied to have actually killed Judd in this episode. It sets them up as the camp that is Rorschach, right? The moral absolutists, like, who, despite whether they're trying to keep the peace or not, are not going to let that fly.
Yeah, I'm not. So my first thought was like, are Lady True and Will working with the 7th Cavalry and the police department? Or do you think that they're like...
But why take out Judd? Like, why...
Yeah.
Because Judd was there to keep the peace. Like, Senator Keen's all about...
So let me ask, so you think the 7th Cavalry is trying to do some kind of Ozymandias shit and True is trying to stop it? Because I think that,
Well, I think Senator Keen and the government are trying to pull some Ozymandias shit. I think the 7K is just fucking racist.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Obviously they're being used just like the police are being used. But so you think... Because I guess I thought from last episode that Lady True was doing some kind of Ozymandias shit, and maybe... Keen as this kind of like American patriot is using these organizations to try to prevent it. Like I don't know. I haven't got a good bean on, or it could be just because like I don't believe that there's a coincidence that both of these organizations could simultaneously be planning a plot that's going to go off in the exact same time.
Mm-hmm.
That seems like it's too big of a coincidence unless they're working together. But like you said, why kill Judd?
Yeah.
I
I don't know, man. I'm definitely gonna have to watch this again before I can suss out all those details.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything else.
So many things like this pet cloning facility with
staffed
like, by twins, which is just a mind fuck.
And they're just disposing of puppies like no big deal. There's also the Spielberg was so traumatized by the squid attack that he shelved Schindler's List and made this pale horse at the exact same time with the exact same black and white with splashes of color technique. Give my writing partner Anthony a little feather in his cap for his genetic trauma theory that got called out by name here in the episode.
There's reflectitine, which is apparently a fabric that people are selling that
to guard their cranium.
Supposedly, wards off extraterrestrial.
How many different covers of Careless Whisperer did we get tonight?
At least 3.
There's the straight up. There was the classical guitar version.
Oh yeah, and there's like a country version too, right?
And then like a pop, kind of like an alt pop version.
There's like 4 of them.
There might have been a couple others because honestly, some of them I didn't recognize until they got to the chorus part. So.
And then they went pretty heavy on the.
Oh, that
Frank
country
Sinatra
one though. That's a Sturgill Simpson song. I think that wasn't Careless Whisperer.
Oh, it wasn't.
Yeah.
I could have sworn I heard like a.
Maybe there was one at the bar.
Like an acoustic, not the Spanish acoustic guitar, but like more of a twangy.
Yeah.
Acoustic guitar version.
And
then Frank Sinatra was in this a couple times, but I think that's just because it was in New York, where the blast was focused.
Well, let me ask you another question. Why does Looking Glass go back for his EDS alarm?
I don't know.
Is it because is that supposed to depict that he, because I've got firsthand experience getting over an incorrect worldview, and it's not usually something you get over in a single night. Yeah. Is that's supposed to show that he's kind of still kind of holding on to both branches, or is he going to repurpose this alarm for something else? And even if he is, like, boy, 7th Cavalry, it seems like so. It seems like Joe Keane, now that he's got what he wants out of Looking Glass, he wants to liquidate him because why? Why would you leave him on the board?
Yeah, he knows
to
too
squeal. Much. Yeah. I think that's all there is to say about that. Anything else we want to talk about before we get to the
American Hero Story got real fucking weird this week.
Well, it just got graphic depicting what the rumor has been, which is Hood of Justice and Captain Metropolis like to get down on each other.
They sure did.
Mm-hmm. And like Cecily said when we were watching it, that's Ryan Murphy as fuck, man. Like, likes to throw in a sexy sex in his different various stories.
Yeah, I came away from this episode thinking, oh, that wasn't as weird as last week. But now that I'm thinking about it,
it's pretty weird.
It was pretty fucking weird.
It's pretty fucking weird. What do you think's gonna happen with Ozymandias and the Gamekeeper?
I don't know, because he says you're under arrest, and he says, okay, fine, no mercy.
But he's already he seems to be under some form of arrest and imprisonment.
Yeah. I mean, would it be like get the equivalent of solitary confinement?
I don't know. Is he going to get like Kathy Bates misery on him, break his ankles? Like,
maybe.
No more walking on the surface of Ganymede for you. I thought the way they depicted the gravity was pretty good. Like, however they did the thing where he was kind of like effortlessly moving those like frozen corpses and then their weird kind of trajectories and bounces. I thought that was really, I mean, you don't see, like, even on shows that should, like The Expanse, you don't see a lot of like paying attention to that shit, to that kind of detail. So
yeah, and I was really gonna put up a stink if he stayed out there for very long in that fucking cow skin he's wearing.
Yeah. Well, so you had a it's like, why does that seem implausible?
Just the sheer cold.
From an insulation standpoint.
Yeah. Which when he gets pulled back in, I'm like, okay, he didn't stay out there too long.
Right. Plus, it was recirculating. It seemed like it was pumping air from like the bubble, so he was getting heated or
yanked
room
him
temperature.
back by his air hose, which I would think is a bad idea.
Well, I mean, yeah, but plus the warden had cut it. So it's like, he was getting close to suffocating until they took his helmet off. But Yeah, maybe. I don't know how many layers of buffalo do you need to withstand the cold of Ganymede? Maybe Ganymede's hot.
I seriously doubt it.
So close to Jupiter, man. It's a failed sun. That's gotta be good for a couple BTUs coming off you.
Sure.
Getting that sun reflected off of Jupiter. I got nothing. It was interesting to see the Squid support group and how that works and their, kind of the statement of like, we believe in other dimensions, but this is the one we live in and we will not live in fear. I thought that was pretty cool.
Also, it makes Looking Glass out to be just a complete buffoon because he claims to be the human lie detector, right? And then he can't even detect this is
like the biggest lie of all time. Yeah, no.
So we can't trust his radar at all.
Yeah. Plus, he's also, it seems like, it seems like that maybe he's got a good human lie detector, but it's also compromised by a lot of bias. Like, obviously, I don't know that he was giving good feedback to that tourist board because he was just telling them how he feels about the situation. And it makes me wonder about other stuff because his ex-wife implied that he's not a very good truth detector when a person's trying to say, hey, I love you and I'm committed to you and I'm not going to leave you naked holding your clothes.
Right.
So he does have his blind spots and weaknesses.
It's true.
And it's something too, like I think it was something interesting about the way he was screaming at himself in the mirror about how stupid he is when the psychic attack. I wonder if that like burnt into his like cortex somehow. He's got this overwhelming negativity about himself and his ability to protect himself. Sure. It's pretty interesting. Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
He spent the early years of his life in a cult that talks about a god, and now you're gonna go to a paradise Earth, and then this shit happens.
What's with the pandas, Jim?
I don't know, but I remember that Watchtower.
The pandas were like, that was like if you had a tract on the paradise, there was always going to be a fucking panda. There's probably going to be a kid curled up with the lion. There's going to be a big bowl of fruit that like 8 different races are going to be all have their hands in that bowl. There'll be no power tools. You'll see people building houses, like big modern style houses, but there's not a power tool or tractor in sight. If
my memory serves, it was very, very Amish in that way. If my memory serves, there were a lot of men with beards on those covers, but you weren't really allowed to have a beard.
Beards in paradise? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe beards in the Jesus days, but
right. Maybe there's a return to beards.
Beards in Christ's millennial rule. I don't know, Jim. That sounds like apostate talk to me.
I agree.
Maybe you can stay after the meeting and talk to the elders.
That's why I got kicked out. The beard.
All right. Can we get to the questions now? Is that how this works? This is where we say goodbye to the people who are not club members. We're going to invite the club members to join us into the Instant Talk section of the Instant Take, where they can interact with us in real time with the YouTube chat app. If you would like to get in on that, the Instant Talks every Sunday night with the Watchmen, then you go to club.baldmove.com and sign up today. All right, let me switch over to the feedback screen. Michelle, is Vite on Titan? I don't understand the field his castle exists in. He needs to be catapulted out but pulled back in, and he didn't fall from any great height. Well, did he fall? So it seems like that bubble also provides gravity. So like once you're out of it, you're like, at 1/10 or 1/20th Earth gravity, which even like a fall of 50 feet wouldn't be that big a deal. But I don't know. That's and Titan, that's the big moon of Saturn.
I couldn't tell you what moon he's on, though I'm certain it's a Jupiter moon.
Yes. And Titan and I do know Titan's a Saturn moon, so he's probably on one of the 5 Galilean moons. Wait, 4 Galilean moons. And it looked like Europa to me. That's the one that's all frozen and covered in frozen water, but I could be wrong. George, the small mention of generational trauma was very cool. Something I've learned a bit about over the last few years. A lot of studies show that trauma and PTSD can be passed generationally. Hopefully those pills will allow the show to get international assassin levels of weird. Side note, Careless Whisper, blue fire, I think is the emoji there. It's doing something for George. What do you think? The pills, I think that we will have probably a trippy, like I'm thinking like an acid trip except through time and people's memories. So like an acid trip. Next episode.
Through whose memories? Will's memories, right?
I mean, that's what you expect, which makes me wonder, like, if it's going to be, like, maybe her father and mother's mystery, or because there's, like, the whole mystery about the accident. Maybe there's something that he's serving up about
could
that.
Could be her parents, could be Will, could be Lady True, could be like a lot of different people. She could live a lot of memories here.
Judd,
yeah.
like because we didn't get a lot of Don Johnson. There's a whole bunch of Don Johnson memories.
What do you need? What do you need from someone to make a nostalgia pill of their memories?
That's a great question.
If you had to guess.
Yeah, like what is a
like
memory?
Spinal fluid.
It's like that's some Harry Potter shit. Like
Yeah.
if you can just distill someone's memories.
Right.
Like
It's desiccated neuroconnectors.
It's like, yeah, are they dead? You like literally take their cerebral cortex, grind it up, and it's like snort it. Like how does that work? I don't know. We'll have to see. Ethan. Steven Spielberg directed Pale Horse, and it was the universe of Schindler's List with the little girl in the red dress and everything. I had totally a most powerful adversary vibe. Like, where do we go from here? Also, these pills are called member berries. Aaron, expect a South Park crossover next episode. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, where do we go from here? I don't know, because they just upended the power structure. Like the person, like my primary like protagonist or like rooting interest was probably Looking Glass. And he's kind of been flipped, and it's funny because it's like one of those things where I feel like he's been hijacked by the truth. Like he's going to be he without questioning whether he agrees with the motives or whatever plan, he decided with the person that freed him from this trauma and told him the truth about it. But like I don't know, it's pretty callous the way he gave up Angela though.
I don't think he's dead either.
Oh no.
I think he's gonna either fight these guys off, or this is a scare tactic or something, because you don't end the episode without the death of Looking Glass if you're gonna do it.
Yeah, I agree. Plus, unless you're like The Walking Dead, you don't like to build up a character for a whole hour to pin some kind of emotional storyline on and then just kill him.
Right.
So I'm betting they're going to be a thrilling but ultimately Looking Glass standing on top type of confrontation next episode. Oh, did Sister Night get away? No, she got taken into custody, right? Yes, she took all the pills. I was gonna say, I wonder if there'll be some kind of like mirror of the Night Owl and Silk Spectre 2 breaking out of Rorschach from jail.
Okay, who would be in on that?
I kind of think Pirate Ginny and the Red Scare, right? Because they don't like Lori. Like they see Lori, then they're not going to understand like why Lori's doing this. It's just going to see like this person, came out, took over the boss's desk, and now she's like gunning for the apparent leader, the heir apparent of the squad.
Yeah,
I could see them getting on board with that.
Didn't even bother changing the nameplate on the desk either.
Yeah,
which was maybe the most offensive part to me.
Not even like just to print something off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just take it off the desk. No nameplate. Like to sit there behind Judd's nameplate.
Judd ain't coming back. Judd's not walking through those doors.
No.
Clarky. A lesser show would have cut away from Glass watching that tape. I fully expected them to not show anything, but thank God they did.
Well, they did. I mean, they cut away from multiple hours of it, right?
Yeah, that's true, because he was just winding up.
Yeah.
And the reveal that the police and the 7th Cavalry are working in tandem was brilliant too. Definitely shapes the season in a different light to what I was expecting. Agreed. Theory time. Is the entire U.S. government basically a cult of conspiracy around Ozymandias? They're showing senators these tapes when they're elected, so it's some sort of induction scheme. Aaron, your destiny knowledge will come in handy determining which moon he's on. I don't know about... So this is where this seems a little loose and loopy. Like, why... I guess everyone, Republican and Democrat, agree that the best way to serve the country and the world and their political interests is to keep this secret, because it seems like it's a huge political risk to release a tape where a very powerful, shadowy billionaire says that he spent 7 years bending the American political machine to the one goal of electing Robert Redford. And then as soon as he gets in office, you're going to start showing this to every politician. Like, wouldn't that, like, it seems like the second a senator's going to lose his race, what has he got to lose? He's just going to throw, like, they don't have fucking principles, clearly. Like, just throw this on and, like, burn it, like, oh, you're being misled and, turn into, like, a cult political figure.
Yeah, I need some more time to think about it.
Yeah, right. Andrew, Behold, a Pale Horse is a conspiracy book about the Illuminati, aliens, and AIDS being a weapon used to cull the population of minorities. Interesting. Because it's in this universe, it's like a death metal band or some kind of something like that talks about Rorschach and the Seventh Cavalry and all that stuff. Jessica, wonder what the Jehovah's Witness reaction was to the squid attack. Would they consider that sent from God? That's a damn fine question because there ain't nothing in the Bible about psychic squids.
But they fucking spun it.
Moon turning to blood, sun going dark, plague of locusts, bowls of anger being poured out. Psychic squid? I didn't see the Apostle John writing about that in Revelations.
A harlot on a multi-headed beast.
Yeah.
I'm sure they could have spun a literal harlot on a multi-headed beast. Yeah.
Sure. I don't know. Something about Leviathan.
Sure.
Yeah. David, apparently Looking Glass is into that superhero gay porn. Who can resist a hooded justice pounding? I think this is, you're supposed to understand this is just American Horror Story. Or American Hero Story.
Oh, I don't think this is like a tape that he has curated himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just everybody watches American Hero Story and this is what it is.
Yeah, and also with the Rorschach, I think there's a lot of analysis about like whether he was closeted gay or like that's one of the reasons he was so like because you see that all the time. Mm-hmm. I was looking at like Looking Glass's face and he just seemed like he was like surprised and quizzical. It wasn't like he's like, oh baby, or like, oh my god, this is disgusting. It was just like,
It's because he didn't realize Hooded Justice played for his team.
yeah, that could be. Let's see. And do we really have to needlessly kill a puppy? Was that necessary for this scene? I mean,
yeah, it is.
Yes,
because the fact that you're questioning, like, oh, I had to see a puppy killed when you've seen so many people killed. Is the point.
Plus,
it's the fucking point. He steps out of the fun house. You had no problem with that, did you?
Also, do they hire twins or are these clones? And what do they do with the clones that don't look exactly the alike? If they do? It's almost like in this that's telling you something about clones, and I think it also ties into Mrs. Crookshanks and what is it, Mr. Phillips? I think this is like showing the society's attitude towards clone beings.
I want to know what they do if somebody brings in like a Great Dane.
Well, I mean, Great Dane puppies are still small. They don't pop out big as Marmaduke.
They gotta be big. They gotta be bigger than that.
But you don't think
that
you fit?
Thing,
I think you can fit a Great Dane puppy in a garbage chute. I really do.
You think so?
Yeah. I bet if you had to, you could fit him down in something like the size of a boot box, not a shoe box, but a boot box for sure.
Looks like it barely fit. And it was no Great Dane.
Yeah. I don't know. I wonder what they do with it in that box.
Also,
is it just intrinsic field generator in there? There's all these puppy Manhattans.
Yeah. Oh, they're sent to the other moons of Jupiter. Teleported.
Let's see. Johnny. Was Michael Imperioli, Christopher from Sopranos, the mayor in that New York commercial? I didn't notice.
The mayor? I didn't know if he was the mayor, but yeah, he's definitely in that commercial.
Oh, well, there you go. What's the connection with the panda? They are on Jehovah's Witness material, and there is a prominent stuffed panda head lying in a squid blast carnage. Holy shit! And also
the guy at the precinct,
the weapons, the weapons free master is got a panda suit going on. Yep. What is with the pandas? I don't know.
I mean, is it a symbol of paradise? Because that's the thing, right? It was always like, oh, you could never get this close to a panda in this imperfect world.
Plus,
but in paradise,
Ozymandias is talking a mess about the utopia he was trying to create.
Right.
So I think you're onto something there, Jim. Let's see. Looking Glass is going into that backup was a head scratcher to me. It wasn't like they were about to do something heinous and needed stopping. This was a little horseshit because the only reason he went in there that backup is because the plot needed him to.
Yeah, he should have waited and waited.
It'd be one thing if like the backup didn't came or like they. I thought there's ways they could have done this story. That would have been not had me calling bullshit. I'm not sure why. And I think maybe they thought that throwing the biggest and fattest lampshade of all time by saying, oh, we rigged the lettuce would just turn everybody's brains off or what. But like, yeah, for him not to I mean, they could have played a lot with the fact that they had hijacked his communication and been like, oh, it's going to be,
or just have a car roll up with some people in uniform and they turn out to be 7K. Like,
Or like
All with
maybe
masks
if like the radio is just like being interfered so they couldn't hear what he's saying, and he could think that like he can mutter something about dimensional technology or like what if a basketball had like appeared out of a portal and dropped in front of his car, and he's thinking and the interference. I mean I don't know. Like it seems like there's a ways you could do that without just having him be fucking stupid.
Yeah, break all the protocols. Yeah, that's silly.
Yeah, I think that might be the only problem I had with the episode. On first watch anyway, because like they did lampshade a lot of that stuff and make it make sense in retrospect. Holy shit, Ringworldner says, I got the impression that only Appropriations Committee senators were read in. That's a really big deal committee that controls spending, and the government likely needs to spend money on the cover-up. Well, man, I don't know. The like Intelligence Committee doesn't get read into that. The defense, like it
also,
feels
that's
like
going to be buried in some nebulously labeled budget chunk. It's not. They're not going to come out and say on the budget sheet like we need money for an extraterrestrial portal.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know. I mean, yeah, I don't know enough about how these.
It would just go into the military spending budget. Like they wouldn't itemize this shit.
Yeah, that's why it's like what was that? The Independence Days. It's like why the toilets cost $500 or a hammer costs $500. Yeah, they just fund that into the psychic squid research. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't know. Like I feel like there's got to be more than just the Appropriations Committee just read in on that. Like you'd think that like all the national security director, like all the head intelligence community people would be, probably the Joint Chiefs, all the president's cabinet members. I don't know.
Who's the contractor that builds it? Is it like Lockheed or something?
That builds the psychic squids?
Yeah.
That's it. Maybe it's Lady True. Could be Lady True's got that contract.
Yeah. Yeah, you're probably right.
Or maybe it's Clonopet. They got that. They won that contract, just cloning a shit ton of squid. They don't have to live 30 seconds. And they seem like they're really good at creating life forms that are not long for the world. And I think that's it for the Instant Talk tonight. Thanks once again for joining us and helping us break down this episode afterwards. We're going to think about it for another day or two. Look at you guys' long form feedback, which I encourage you to send in at watchmen@baldmove.com. Do some research, some thinking, some more watching, and we'll be back on Tuesday afternoon with our full-fledged coverage of this episode, Little Fear Lightning. Until then, I'm Aaron.
And I'm Jim.
Have a great night.